Hello walkers, and welcome back to Livingston, Montana. I thought that I had just done one of these walks a couple weeks ago, but it turns out it was back in June. So time does fly, and I wanted to do one today because we just had our first snow of the season. Got down to 6 degrees Fahrenheit the other evening. And I've been talking about this in my nature walks a little bit, foretelling. And I thought, well, you guys really like Livingston, Montana, and so do I. And so I thought I'd do a quick little pre-winter walk. I'm going to flip you around here. Because my name is Henry, I will be your proxy walker today, your virtual travel guide and co-discoverer. I'm going to flip you back around. I want to thank our Patreon supporters, and if you would like to become a Patreon supporter or just do a one-time donation to help support the channel, there will be some links in the YouTube description below. Thanks so much. This is our downtown area, sort of the quintessential western small town. You've got Livingston Peak down in the Ozarks down there. It's 24 degrees Fahrenheit, negative 4 degrees Celsius, a little bit after 2 p.m. today, late October. Hustle across the street since somebody's waiting for me. And what else? I mentioned that the last one of these I did was in June, so that it was a lot different, much warmer, much greener. We still have leaves on the trees, but I think that's going to go away as soon as it warms back up. It is a little breezy, not too bad, and it's a quiet Saturday afternoon here in downtown. It'll pick up a little bit. I wanted to show you just this sign real quick because it is one of many wonderful neon and bright light signs we have down here, and when there's snow on the ground to reflect it all, it's really beautiful down here. Such a cool downtown area. Got another one on the Stockman down at the end, Livingston Bar and Grill. We actually have a new restaurant in town, fairly new. It's called the Fainting Goat. It's an Irish themed restaurant. It's really great. They have a nice outdoor patio as well as, hi there, some good food, and live music. So here's a couple of our murals that the Explore Livingston Business Improvement District, Tourism Improvement District have encouraged, and I'm a big fan of them. I like adding a little color, a little art to the public spaces. I enjoy it, and I'm a big fan. This is a Livingston Bar and Grill, classic old bar in there, wooden bar, and nice little restaurant, higher end. And we're going to cross over 89 here. Hopefully people will see the crosswalk and respect that. Yep. And you can see the coal train across the way here. And this is a railroad town. And until about the 80s, when it was one of the big railroad companies moved out, and a lot of jobs were lost, a lot of people moved away, and this town has since crawled its way back up and is now doing pretty well again. Look at that view. Isn't that just amazingly beautiful? I love it. I actually live here, if you're new to the channel. I do natter on and chat. I'll try and cut it back a little bit today. But that's just the type of channel. So if you're looking for one without speaking, you'll have to turn the sound off, or there's a lot of other great walking channels out there for you. Give me a comment about what you like and what you don't like, even if it's the talking. I do appreciate some constructive feedback and help make this channel better for you as you are on your treadmill or doing your cardio workout, or just exercising or just at home traveling virtually. I just want to point out across the way is a coffee shop called Perk on Park. They and a deli / bakery have filled in this, what was just a gravel area where people were parking their cars, with that awesome outdoor space. And the reason I really want to bring up Perk on Park, it's been a coffee shop since ever since I've been here, was MT Cup, Montana Cup, a little pun there. Now it's Perk on Park, and they and Apples and Anglers, I think it is. Look at this tree. I love how beautiful this tree is. Just get a better look there. Look at those berries with the snow. Oh, awesome. Anyway, I wanted to mention it because they have this amazing bakery, and I would say that Livingston has 3 of the best bakeries in Montana. I know it's a bold statement because there's some pretty good ones out there, but Perk on Park, who I think they use Apples and Anglers. Then there's the Food Resource Center bakery downtown, and then over on Clark Street is Eastside Coffee. Look at these awesome colors with the snow. So good. This is our old train depot. Beautiful, classic old Western design. Everybody keeps talking about getting passenger rail service back here. And I think it would be amazing, but also kind of a long shot, unfortunately. I gotta watch my battery because the cold really saps the battery of this mic. And I had a walk a couple weeks ago up Sioux Creek that the battery died and cut out, so I didn't even know that I wasn't recording sound. This depot center is an event center, but also in the summer a museum space with various exhibits, which is pretty cool. It's definitely worth going in there and looking around. Over here you got the classic Murray Hotel. Below is the Murray Bar and Cafe, and then next to it is Gill's Goods, and they have wood-fired bakery and deli. Also a good bakery. And then across the way is Dan Bailey's, an outdoor store. Used to be just fishing. Classic old fishing store, fly fishing. And a few years ago, the owner of Timber Trails got some investors and they bought it. And now it's both still a fly fishing shop, but also a bike shop and outdoor gear and maps and a lot of expertise. Look at the snow coming off the trees here, and I'm going to talk about this park in just a second. Wind is just part of winter here in Livingston. It's famous for being one of the windiest places in the country, on average, even more so than like Waco, Texas, but because it's a small population, it doesn't make the top lists. I think the average wind speed is like 15 or 17 miles an hour. Anyway, this park, at the end of November, we're going to go down one more block. At the end of November will be this event called Light Up Livingston, and these trees already have a bunch of Christmas lights rigged up. They'll do a bit more, and they'll have food vendors and photos, stuff, and songs, and maybe a Santa, and just a fun local community event for families and kids and everybody, really. Super fun. And again, I think that's put on by the Explore Livingston organization, which is a very active, engaged business and improvement district, tourism improvement district. I'm going to go down a little bit further and then we'll make a left on Yellowstone. This might not be a long walk just because of the battery situation. It's not that cold, but the wind really sucks the heat out of you and the equipment. Pardon my sniffs. All right. Somebody's got their snow tires on. You can hear the rippling sound of studded tires. We're going to go down Yellowstone Street. You see the street sign here. This was Park Street or 89. Just because this is sort of the classic old street, residential street of Livingston. A lot of the railroad folks built along this street, and it's wide and beautiful. I will say one of the downsides of being in a railroad town is, I'm going to spin you around here. So Yellowstone is equivalent to 4th. At 5th Street, there's a railroad crossing, and because it's expensive and it's a small town, etc., they do not have a silent crossing. They have the engineers are required to sound their horn as a warning at that crossing, and I think another one down at, I forget what that one's called, but it's closer to the river, and it's so loud, and there's a lot of trains that come through here, and it's, I've said this before, but when our kids were little, we'd be just about down for a nap, and a train would come along and they would just lay on that horn. Oh, talk about sending the cortisol levels through the roof. But the kids have grown up. And I'm just going to mention this, not that you really care if you're walking along, but we got a kitten recently. Her name is Senator Penelope Fluffy Pants. She's adorable. And my wife, Traveling Mel, has started a Instagram, this is the street here, channel for, which I think is Senator.Penelope. So check that out. My wife's trying to train her to be an adventure cat, to go out skiing and hiking and that sort of thing. She has got us both wrapped around her finger and somewhat terrorized. It's one of the nice things about small towns and weekend afternoons. There's not a lot of traffic. You can just walk down the middle of the road. I would like to take a little poll real quick. If you would, let me know in the comments section below if you prefer city walks or nature walks. I tend to get more traffic on cities, but and this isn't really determinative because it's not a lot of money, but I get higher ad revenue on nature walks, which I thought was interesting. I just discovered that today. One thing I want to mention is, since we're at the end of October and I think Halloween is on Tuesday, in the past years, and I think they'll do it again this year, we're a small town, so in a rural town, so a lot of kids will come into Livingston to trick or treat, and that's a weird way to pronounce that, trick or treat. And they'll block off this street from 2 blocks down there, and we'll pan you around here, back up to Main Street. These cross streets will be open, but the Yellowstone will be shut down, and it's all for trick or treating. And people along this road hand out candy, a ton of candy. In fact, so much, look at this beautiful old mansion, so much that one of the local nonprofits, Community Closet, I think, donates candy to the homeowners. And then a lot of the homeowners will have Halloween parties, and sort of you're expected to bring a bag of candy to help hand out. At least that's my experience. I just think that's a great tradition. You'll see all kinds of kids out here, and it's supposed to, thank goodness, it's supposed to warm up a little bit because it's often just absolutely frigid, which is tough on the little kids. Love these old buildings. So odd to see the green leaves with the snow. Crows on the snow are also really cool. I read a book called The Dying Fall by Ellie Griffiths. It's a British mystery, a Brit Mit, as I like to call them. Oops. I didn't hear that car pulling up behind me. It's sort of a premise about King Arthur, archaeological find that might be King Arthur and his association with ravens, which I thought was interesting. This is a neat house here. Another neat house across the way. This is Clark Street. So you go down that way, 6 blocks, you'll get to East Side Coffee. Delicious. Another classic old house. Oh, all the colors are magnificent. The light, just fantastic. Anyway, nature versus city, let me know in the comments section. I get easily distracted on this channel. I love sharing all these little thoughts and details with you guys. And I don't normally know a lot. I'm not an expert on a lot of towns, but I've been here for 16, 17 years now. And so I know a fair amount about Livingston. It's funny, I know, because it's a small town, you know people, and I know several people that live on the street or own houses on the street and have lived here. I was in Chattanooga visiting some friends recently, and it all of a sudden sort of occurred to me that and this isn't anything too profound, but it was interesting to me, was that, in these bigger cities, if you go out and you see somebody you know at a bar or a restaurant, it's a nice surprise. Here, it's the opposite, meaning if you don't see somebody at a bar or restaurant, it's just a surprise. Not a nice surprise, because it's nice to see people, but it is a little bit surprising if you go out and you don't know anybody. Pretty rare. I'll get back out in the street here. These poor trees. I'm not sure, I read something today, I didn't get to finish the article, but something about how A lot of trees are, because of climate change, for some reason are not getting a chance to fully, they're like leaving the nutrients in the trees leaves longer, and aren't getting a chance to fully prepare for winter. I'll have to find that and try and link it below, although, let's be honest, unlikely to happen. Ooh. So this is referred to as a lagoon, which is sort of an offshoot of Fleshman Creek, which is a creek that runs into town, and it's actually also what used to be, you can see it's all frozen over. It's happened quickly. Everything on the other side used to be an island, Zeebeck Island, maybe that's 9th Street Island. There was an island that was filled in as the river has evolved. Over there is the community center. We'll just go down to the river here. The channels of the river meander. It's called a meander pattern. And over the centuries, channels fill in, other channels get dug out, and it sort of meanders its way down the valley. Of course now, as we'll see when we get up here, because people have built out here and there's parks and facilities, the high school, the civic center, etc. They've put a lot of riprap down and flood control measures to keep this part of the river from meandering quite at will. It does adjust, and I'll point something out up here when we get up here about a change that I've seen in the last 15 years. Another thing I want to show you this winter, if I think about it or get the chance, is people will shovel the snow off the lagoon, and people can skate out there, which is fun. Ooh, I see some ducks flying down. Usually the lagoon is full of waterfowl. There's a duck that is taking off, but since it's frozen over, I think they're settling down in the river just on the other end of this little berm here. We'll go take a look. Here's Sacajawea Park. Ooh, I see what is that, a hawk of some sort across the way. Here we go. We'll pop over and there'll be ducks and geese just on the other side of this. Yep. There you are, happy little guys. Try not to scare them away. Okay, so what I was going to talk about is Zeebeck Island, the current Zeebeck, or 9th Street Island as locals call it, out there. And then off to the right is a channel of the river. Used to be full-on river through here. They had a boat ramp down there, etc. It has filled in over the last 15 years. In fact, that bridge down there got washed out 10, 15 years ago. They replaced it. Cute little mallards. Now the main channel, which is kind of always the main channel, is out on that side. Looking up at the Absarika Mountains here in a second once we walk past this tree. Kind of that cold icy mist in the mountains there. Brr. Huh. These birds, these waterfowl, believe they have something called counter-current heat exchange. And you know, obviously they have down and their feathers are waterproof because they oil them. But their legs and feet are bare skin, and they do something with the blood flow that keeps the cold blood from going all the way back into the main core of their body. And I don't know exactly how it works, but it's pretty amazing stuff. When it gets really cold, which I've posted a few videos from Livingston, one I think it was 25 below, there'll be steam coming off of this water as the sun comes up. It's really stunningly beautiful. Ice crystals in the air, and just gorgeous natural phenomenon if you could stand it for more than a few minutes. Now wait a second here. So I'm going to pan us over here. This is the band shell. I don't probably has a proper name, but everybody just refers to it as a band shell. It's also where they have the farmers market every Wednesday throughout the summer. And usually they have maybe 4 picnic tables, but now there's a ton of them. And I don't know, maybe they picked them up from other parks and brought them here for the winter, but sure would be nice to have those here in the summer. I don't mean that as a criticism, maybe a positive feedback. The city department here does a great job with limited resources in maintaining the city, providing, maintaining the parks, and we have a really great, we have a lot of amenities in this town that I wouldn't expect from a town so small. So kudos to them. Probably basketball game going on at the Civic Center today, Youth League basketball, but I'm not really sure. And they'll have a lot of times they'll have a big holiday dinner there, Thanksgiving and Christmas, for people that don't have other places to go, which is really cool. They will have a Christmas market in there one weekend. And then during the week they have there's open walking, so if you don't want to walk out in the blustery weather, you can go in there and walk around the basketball court. I think they have pickleball, sometimes they have, yoga classes, and you can also rent it for birthday parties. And they used to have, I don't know if they still do, they used to have free play for kids, young kids in there, and they'd throw out a bunch of, bouncy balls and frisbees and stuff like that. And if you're a parent with energetic young kids and you are going crazy with being cooped up inside, you could bring them down here and for free and play, which is awesome. Looks like maybe it's not just a basketball thing. Oh, maybe it's a Halloween event. See some kids in costume. Cool. All right, so this is the Sacajawea statue with Pompey, her child. She was an instrumental part of the Lewis and Clark expedition. I don't really know the history of that as much as I should for someone who lives here. we'll just go out to this dock real quick. It's kind of got a beautiful old bridge. We walked over that bridge earlier with the arches and the tunnels under there. It's really just beautiful. All right, so our battery is looking like it doesn't want to go too much longer. I'm gonna say thank you for joining me on this winter walk through Livingston, Montana. I hope you'll come back and see us next time. I'm not sure exactly where that will be. I'm trying to get my act together so that I can go do a little road trip and pick up some other cities around the state or maybe to the west here. But we'll see how that goes. So thank you for joining us. Come again soon. And of course, as always, keep on stepping.